In God we trust. It's a saying that is printed on our currency, minted on our coins. It's also something that shouldn't just be a motto. It should be a way of living. And we've been in the series by that title. And for the last 3 weeks, I've spent some time in this series talking about perspectives. I really haven't talked about mechanics, haven't talked about how to in step 1, step 2, step 3. So I spent the last 3 weeks talking about perspective on money, because everything about money starts with your perspective. If you don't have the right perspective, nothing else will really matter. And the level of perspective and trust you have is just seen first in your mind and then in your actions. And so I wanted to focus on our attitude and perspective on money, because our culture constantly works against it, doesn't it? Like I don't know, like I'm not counting on a Super Bowl commercial next Sunday that says this: be sure to give 10% to your church. I'm not counting on it. I've never seen a commercial, and I don't expect I ever will. Culture says money is number one. Spend on yourself. Build bigger barns. Trust yourself. But God says, seek me first. Give away money. Watch me take care of you. Focus on your eternal reward and trust me. So today, as I wrap up this series, I want to get very, very practical and specific about how to act on what God says. You know, it's not enough to just trust God. It's not enough to say I trust God and not do anything. If you say that you trust God and you don't obey God, the Bible says you don't really trust God. A lot of people say they trust God, but they never obey Jesus, or they rarely do. And I hate to bring such a sobering thought so quickly, I rarely do, but I will right now. A lot of people think they trust God. And there are going to be a lot of sunken hearts when a lot of people on Judgment Day stand before God thinking that they're all right, and then realizing they aren't. Because they said they trusted, but they never obeyed. You want to talk about the biggest problem in the United States of America? A lot of trust that's really not trust, because there's not a lot of obeying going on. One of my favorite old hymns, and I do like the old hymns, is a hymn that says, trust and obey, for there is no other way to be happy in Jesus than to trust and obey. How many know that hymn? Yeah, figures in a church of people that don't go to church. Not many of you. That's cool. Because actually, if a lot of you knew it, then we know we'd be getting transferred. But yeah, you got to be a crusty old Christian like me to know the words of that song. So take out your notes and open to Matthew 21, 28 to 31. It's Jesus Christ's final life on earth in the chapter before he's crucified. It's clear that Jesus is not going to be accepted as Israel's Messiah. Jesus was accepted by certain select individual Jewish people, of course. But as a nation in general, and the religious leadership of Israel in particular, they rejected Jesus. And as the days got closer and closer to Jesus' crucifixion, they criticized, challenged, questioned Jesus with more acute negativity and disrespect and unbelief than they ever had. So Jesus enters Jerusalem on Palm Sunday, the week before he dies, and some of the Jewish people there said, "Oh, hail, Son of David," and a week later, some of those same people were yelling, "Crucify him." So in the midst of all these questions and challenges, Jesus tells a parable. It's of his many parables that he told, it's the easiest to understand. I mean, even I understood it on first reading. So he says this in Matthew 21, 28, 31. He goes, "What do you think? There was a man who had 2 sons. He went to the first and said, 'Son, go to work today in the vineyard.' 'I will not,' he answered. But later he changed his mind and he went. Then the father went to the other son and said the same thing. He answered, 'I will, sir,' but he did not go. Which of the two did what the Father wanted? The first, they answered. That's pretty, even I had the right answer, first try. So what was Jesus' point? His point was this, that the religious leaders of Israel said with their mouth, they said they loved God. But since they didn't obey God's Son, Jesus Christ, wouldn't listen to him, wouldn't consider him, rejected him, and wouldn't obey, they really didn't love or trust God. Not at all. They said they'd do what the Father asked, but when Jesus Christ appeared on the scene, they wouldn't do it. They professed faith in God, but their lack of obedience proved they really didn't possess faith. There's a lot of Christians, there's a great divorce, and here's the divorce. They profess that they believe in Jesus, but they don't possess Jesus in their life. And that's a sad feeling. Please don't let that be you. They talked about loving God, but they never acted on it, and the same is true today. Many people today say they love, say they trust, say they believe in God, but when they don't obey him, they just prove they really don't trust him or love him or believe in him at all. It's impossible to really trust and not really obey, because true faith always leads to good works. James says, if a man says he has faith, but he doesn't have works, can that faith save him? In the Greek, the answer is demanded no. No. So the only way to know if you trust God is to evaluate if you obey him. Now, nobody does it perfectly, so I'm not advocating for that. Like, if you didn't do one thing he didn't say, you're not a Christian. I'm not advocating that at all. But that's the point of this parable. And when it's applied to finances, the point of this parable is this. If you trust God financially, then you will obey God financially. So this morning I want to look at what trusting and obeying God looks like in 3 vital time dimensions. It's my 3 points this morning. I want to look at what trusting and obeying God looks like for today. What do you have to avoid today? Second, what trusting and obeying God financially looks like tomorrow. And by tomorrow, I use it in a very metaphorical sense. I mean for the rest of your life until the last breath on planet Earth takes place. And then I want to look at what trusting and obeying God financially looks like in the 3rd time dimension, and that's eternity. What can you do now to shape your eternity? Financially, eternal reward. What do you do now financially to shape your eternal reward eternally? So do you really want to know how much you trust God with your money today? I'll talk about these 3 time dimensions, and then here's the answer. Do you obey? Your obedience is going to just answer your question. I don't need to answer your question. You can answer it for yourself. So here's the first. Trusting and obeying God requires that we think about today. And by today, I mean this, that you put your debt to death. Now, you're going, whoa. You're talking about trust and obey? What does debt have to do with trusting and obeying God? Listen, what debt really is, at its core, debt is really this. I trust more in my credit card than I do in Christ. Think about it. Christ won't give me the money I want, so I better go to the credit card, because they'll give you all you want. All you want. And they'll freaking call you every week. Can we raise your limit, Mr. DiPaola? Every week. They'll give you everything you want. Now, what happens when you fall into debt? You have a new master. Look at this verse, Proverbs 22:7. The rich rule over the poor. That's a general statement. Now watch how it gets specific. The borrower is servant to the lender. Think about it. MasterCard. See, in debt, we become ruled by the lender. We become enslaved by the lender. And it's hard to have two masters, isn't it? Can I give you a few bits of data on debt? Now, these things can be depression. I call it depression data. It's depressing, but you need to hear some of it, so I'm going to be judicious. The total consumer debt, I think Pastor Frank made reference to this. In 2017, the total consumer debt is $1.3 trillion. Now, I want to say something right here. There is good debt and there is bad debt. There is good debt. I would be a liar, I'd be disingenuous if I said all debt is bad, because I have debt, but I believe all my debt's good debt, and I'll explain. The average household credit card debt, now say it with me, credit card debt is bad debt, okay? That's bad debt. Average household credit card debt, $5,000, but that includes everybody, like if you own nothing. You know what the median credit card debt is? You remember that class in math? What's the median? Median is, of all the people who do have credit card debt, what is exactly in the middle? If you get all of them, I owe $1, I owe quadrillion. The median's right in the middle. What is the median credit card debt? $16,000. 56% of people in debt have credit card debt. 38% of all Americans have credit card debt. In other words, the midpoint of all debt is $16,000 credit card debt, and half of all people in credit card debt owe more than $16,000. And at 15 to 24% interest, I don't care what freaking sale you got on that. That interest ate it up and some. You paid way more, sorry. Average mortgage debt. Now, is mortgage debt good debt? It is a good debt. Mortgage debt is a good debt if you got a good interest rate, got a good value on your home, and you bought a home that's reasonable to your budget. If you do all three things, mortgage debt is a good debt. Average mortgage debt is $173,000. Now, maybe Callie brought that up a little bit, I don't know, and I want to say one thing about mortgage interest rates, okay? The Fed already told us this year they're going to have 3 rate hikes on the lending rate to banks from the Feds this year, and 2 rate hikes next year. And I'm not making a political statement, I'm making a factual observation. I'm not here to advocate for President Trump or not. I'm just telling you the business community believes in President Trump. The economy's heating up. Say what you want. And inflation's going up. All I'm telling you, if you are thinking about buying a house, this year is the year to do it. And I'm not saying that because we have realtors here. If you do need a realtor, we have the best here. But they didn't tell me to say that. But now's the time to do it. But you got to do it right. Average car loan, over $30,000. Now, is a car loan a good debt? It can be. It can be. I have a car loan. I have a mortgage loan. Our mortgage loan is right size for us. I like my car loan because guess what interest I pay on it? 0%. Got the Italian rate. That's awesome. 0%. So I don't even consider that a loan. Know what I consider that? A steal. I mean, the total average debt combined, including all who have no debt at all in America, $139,500 per household. It's a lot. But here's the point. When you operate in debt, you live an overextended life. You pay more for things because of the high interest rate of outstanding balances. And most of the time, that debt that you incurred was really not necessary. Not all the time, most of the time. As a result, you fall behind financially. You have to work more hours, more jobs. You have more anxiety, less nights of complete sleep, and you're beholden to the lender. And your walk with God and your generosity to Him is negatively impacted. We see it here at Lakeshore all the time. Some people come to us bleeding and dying in debt. And it's not their fault. But my observation, most of the people who come bleeding and dying in debt Totally their fault. Didn't need to do it. Didn't need to do it. They got sucked in. You might be surprised to know that Jesus Christ talked about financial debt. So did the Apostle Paul. Jesus said, give to Caesar what's Caesar's, give to God what's God's. What was he saying? Don't have any debt. Paul said it in a little bit more of a comprehensive way. Look at Romans 13, 7-8. Paul says, give to everyone what you owe him. That's the overarching statement of principle. If you owe somebody something, get it paid back quickly. If you owe taxes, pay taxes. If revenue, then revenue. What's revenue? Credit card debt. Debt. If you owe somebody revenue, money for debt, pay it back quickly. If honor, then honor. If respect, then respect. If honor, then honor. You know, we live in a culture where we don't really honor and respect people. Like, half the time I open the door for people, they don't say thank you. I don't know. I just, like, I'm not looking for the thank you, but it'd be nice to see a little more of a respectful culture. You know, you go to a store and you say, hey, can you help me find something? And then they help you find something and they say, oh, you're looking for a broom? I'd get that broom. You know, do you say, wow, that's great service. Thank you. Do you do that? I like to do that. I just believe in trying to show respect to people. They work hard, and I think they need it. Let no debt remain outstanding. There's only one. The continuing debt to love one another. In other words, you can never love people and go, look, honey, I told you I love you when we got married, and if I ever change my mind, I'll let you know. You don't get to do that. You don't get to do that. I owe you love. And I want to tell you, look, as much as I love you. I do. Even if, like, I challenge you and I love you. I really do. I try to. And I hope you'll love me, especially after point 3 comes up. But anyway, here's the point. Put your debt to death. How do you do it? I'll give you real practical. Number 1, start with your spending. Starve the source of your debt. Starve your spending. You have to go in austerity mode with your spending as much as possible. How do you do that? Number 1, evaluate every single bill. You may have to cut the platinum, zirconium, gold standard DirecTV with HBO, Showtime, ESPN 78, NFL Network, NHL package. You might have to cut that cord. Yes, you might. Or you could be like my assistant who called our provider for internet and stuff, said, we need a higher bandwidth because we're doing live streaming now. And we're doing that, and we need a higher bandwidth, and we want it cheaper than we got. And guess what? She hung up. Higher bandwidth and cheaper. Don't you wish that was your assistant? You should be that way. You should be that way. With every bill, evaluate every bill. Here's another one. Evaluate the way you buy food and the way you eat out. That seems a little narrow. No. I'm telling you, people that come in, you know what they do? Well, you know, I'm busy. I'm busy. Well, here's my tip. I'm busy, so I got to eat out, and yeah, I got to treat my wife like a queen. So every couple of weeks, they're spending $100 on dinner at Black and Blue. Yeah, well, like, I love my wife, but she gets sick about 6 of them a year. That's about it. Right, about every other. I mean, we go to other Chili's and stuff. Okay. But I'm telling you, it's eat out. Well, I could have. It's usually when you eat out, it costs you a lot more. Bring your lunch. Yes, eat out every now and then, but get some Chinese. You can get like freaking a mound of rice for $3. Let's just get that. Here's another one. Stay away from department stores, even Kohl's. I mean, Somebody gave me Kohl's cash. I think it was Andy. Here's another thing. Like if you go to a department store, I've said this years ago. People are still telling me they do it. You ever buy something and you go, like a week later, why did I buy this? You ever do that? Can I help you overcome that? Watch this. Go to the store, get the thing you really, really want, and put it in your cart. And then do this. Promise yourself you'll stay in the store another 20 minutes. And then after 20 minutes, you'll go, okay, I had it, cool. And put it right back. It's like taking a sinus tablet when you got a headache. Consider selling something. All right, here's the second. So start with spending, start with the store. Second, confront your outstanding debt. Confront it. Look at ways to both lower the interest rate and lower the amount you owe. You know what? A lot of times when people get in debt, they don't answer the phone, they put the bill and they don't look at it. I'm telling you, one of the worst things you can do in life, when you have a problem, one of the worst things you can do is ostrich yourself. Stick your head in the sand and pretend it doesn't exist. One of the best things you can do in life when you have a problem is confront it. You know what they say about winter here? The best way to deal with winter here, well, the best way really is go to Florida. But the second best way, if you're here, is go outside and confront it. Like, what do you do with that stuff? I mean, make a snowman, go skiing, go for a walk, but you got to confront it. And it's the same thing with debt. You can't just go, no, hear no evil. It doesn't work. You have to confront it. Here's some strategies. Can you combine loans into one lower interest rate? I don't know how that works. I never want to know how that works. But here's another one. Can you pay off the highest interest rate first? Now, some people say that's not the right thing to do. The right thing to do is to pay off the one with the less amount of money so you have one less bill if you have multiple. But there's that strategy of pay off a bill or pay the highest rate, because obviously if you pay off the highest rate, you're paying less interest in the totality of your payback plan. Negotiate with your lenders. Oh, they don't do that. Oh, yes, they do. So just go up to them and say, look, I want to pay you back. I can't right now. Like, can you lower this from like 24% to like 10%? Talk to them. Talk to them. Somehow you have to fight to lower it quickly and with less interest. And there are people that can help you. I don't know, all these little commercials now, I don't know if they're true or not, but there are people that can help you. I don't know, pennies on the dollar. That sounds a little sketchy, but people that can help you. And by the way, I'll say this. If you borrow the money, pay it back. Pennies on the dollar. Yeah, there's a good lesson. Yeah, I got away with pennies. I mean, what kind of lesson is that? Pay it back. I know somebody that went through bankruptcy. They paid everybody back when they didn't have to. And it's not just people with debt that can help you. It's us. We're glad to help you. We're offering a class. You may have heard the name Dave Ramsey, and it's called Financial Peace University. How many have taken Financial Peace University? Okay, about as much as know, trust, and obey. All right, okay. How many know it was an awesome class? Now, here's the myth. Here's the myth about, everybody in that class is in debt. They stink at money management. They're no good. They're financial losers, all that. Not true. You know who's usually in that class? Some of the people in that class are the smartest financial people around. You know why? Because they're always learning more. They go to that class and they want to learn more. And Dave Ramsey is not Jesus Christ, but I'm telling you, Dave Ramsey's got a lot of wisdom. He does. Now, my wife took it actually for me. So, but she told me, she told me we need to do Roth IRAs. Nah, you got to pay taxes afterward. Now, I still don't get it. But now all our money, and when we have extra money, it goes into a Roth. You don't get the tax benefit now, but you ain't paying taxes later. Now, we got a mix, and I'm not a finance, but I'm just saying you'll learn tons of stuff there. They have a whole session on how to get rid of debt. So if you want help, we're offering 2 classes. They start this week. Saturday, February 3rd, for those of you who believe in God at 8 a.m. on Saturday morning, from 8 to 9:30. So if you're an early bird, Saturday, 8 to 9:30. And then Sunday, starting next Sunday, February 4th, 1 to 2:30. So you can come to the 11 o'clock service and do it. Now here's the thing. You have to register. And guess what? It's 9 weeks. Yep. Because it's not going to, listen, it wasn't easy to get in debt. It isn't easy to manage money. It's 9 weeks and it's outstanding. And it costs money, but it'll pay for itself. And so you can sign up by going to our website, lakeshorechurch.org/FPU, or go to lakeshorechurch.org. When you see the FPU, Financial Peace University thing come up, click on the image and sign up. But sign up today so you can get in the class. If you trust and obey God, today put your debt to death. Trusting and obeying God also requires that we think about tomorrow. And that's becoming a smart saver. Now, what does savings have to do with trusting and obeying God? A lack of savings is putting your trust in other people or institutions more than trust in God. Think about it. I'll need to save. There's an old saying, the best defense is a good offense, and the best defense against debt is a good offense of savings. Why? Because savings protect your financial future. Notice this, Proverbs 21:20. The wise man saves for what? Saves for the future. That's tomorrow. The wise man saves for the future. This is a contrastive. The first proverb that we looked at was called an intensive. You make a general statement and then you intensify it with a specific statement. This is called a contrastive. The wise man saves for the future, but the foolish man spends whatever he gets. And I always think of what my dad said. He'd give me money and go, son, whenever he said son, you know, he's getting in his philosopher mode. He goes, son, don't have a hole in your pocket. In other words, like, don't spend it as soon as you get it. It's so clear that when you have savings, you have so many options and more protections against the surprises of life. Now, why do you save for the future? I think there's 3 realms you save for the future. Some of them are obvious. One might surprise you. Here's the first. The obvious is you save for rainy days, right? Your furnace never breaks down on schedule. Yeah, furnace, would you break down in July? No. It breaks down the first cold day in January. Your water heater always breaks down between Sunday at midnight and Monday at 8 a.m. It always breaks down then. Different problems. So you save for rainy days. Here's the second. You save for big future purchases. Instead of going in debt to buy that living room furniture, you save up for it. Now here's what I find. When you save up for something and you get it, you appreciate it way more than when you go charge it and all that. For many, many years, our dining room furniture was real simple. It was one of those 4x4 card tables, you know, with the legs. You know, those. That was our dining room set. We loved it. Actually, it was okay. But we saved up some money, and we bought brand new living room set. Dining room wasn't that important to us, but we wanted to have one. We bought one used from Craigslist. Didn't get jumped or mugged, but we did buy one at Craigslist. And I'm glad we did it, but we saved up for it. So rainy days, big expenditures, you want to buy a car, save up. Here's the third. This is the obvious. Retirement. Retirement. Now, you're going to have to help me out because I got this magazine. I don't know why I got it. It says 55 plus. I'm 38. Did you guys send this to me? Heather?
Miles per hour.
Is that what it's like? I don't know why I get this. I think I'm getting pranked by a Lakeshore attender, so because I wouldn't be a member. But let me just share just some data from this magazine, because I am, I'm 38 and I don't. 1/4 of people 65 today will surpass age 90. 1/4 will live past 90, and 1/10 will live past 95. Here's another one. 1/3 of Americans have zero retirement savings. 1/3 of Americans don't even have an account. Here's another one. 4 out of 10 single people 65 and older receive 90% or more of their income from Social Security. So let's do some math. I don't even know what the max is. Let's say you get $2,000 a month. $24,000 a year. That's 90%. You're living on $25,000, $26,000 a year. Here's another one. 1 out of every 3 Americans plans not to retire. I have a friend like that. He told me, I got to work the rest of my life. I got to work the rest of my life. And I don't mean any derogatory by this, so don't take it this way. That means when he can't do much of anything, and he's 75, he's going to be the one that says, welcome to Walmart when you walk in. And I don't mean to disparage that. I mean to say, when you're 75, is that what you want to be doing? Welcome to Walmart. This is important because my wife actually gave me this article, and she put stars and underlining and arrows and smile. On average, this one surprised me. On average, a healthy couple will spend $377,000 on health care during retirement. $377 just on health care. And here's the last one. Nearly half of retirees spend more during retirement. More. So the key is to save. Don't trust the government. The government has $20 trillion of debt. Nobody will do anything about it because you don't win an election. Please vote for me because I'll eliminate the debt. That should be one of the bigger issues. But guess what? That doesn't do anything for people. Nobody's going to campaign on it. That debt's not going to change. You want to see the downfall of America? Like maybe the Bible intimates. I don't know if it does or doesn't. It's not going to be because somebody's stronger than us. You know what it's going to be? Financial calamity. That's what it'll be. So start saving now. Look at Proverbs 3:11. Dishonest money dwindles away, but whoever gathers money little by little makes it grow. See, because a lot of people go, well, I can't save that much. Save what you can. The longer you do it, it starts adding up. I told my kids this, and they probably had to get counseling for it. I said it so many times. I said, you know what a lot is? A lot is a lot of littles. A lot. Right? So save a little bit, 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 and it becomes a lot. But whoever gathers money little by little makes it grow. So start saving now. What do the experts suggest you save? Most experts say you should save 10% of your money. That means 10% of your money either goes to retirement, rainy days, or purchases in the future. Ideally, 10% goes to retirement, and the rest goes for other stuff. The key to saving is having a financial plan or a budget. Look at Proverbs 21:5. The plans of the diligent lead to profit. I have plans and I have profit circled, and I have a line between them because planning and profit always go together. Haphazard financial, feeling led, whatever I feel like spending. Nah, those people don't. They don't have good money plans. The plans of the diligent lead to profit as surely as haste leads to poverty. See that? That's a contrast. If you don't have a budget, how do you know what you can spend, really? There are lots of kinds of budgets. FPU will help you. I have a budget I developed. I presented a couple of years ago in a series, and it works great. I can tell you right now where all my pinch points are, because here's my budget, real simple. Every time I get paid, we get paid here every other week. I put every bill that's due in that 2-week period, and I do that for the whole year. So I'll have a grand total. This pay period, I got $3,000 of bills. This pay period, I have $1,800 of bills. And then I know. And I know when I go, don't buy anything then. But you have to have a budget. Don't trust in Social Security, the government alone, inheritance, your Uncle Eddie and your Aunt Anna giving you some money or anything else besides God's wisdom and his instruction to save. Trust and obey God for tomorrow. And be a smart saver. Now, when you put your debt to death today and you become a smart saver for tomorrow, then you could do the third most important thing. This is the most important way to trust and obey God, and that's trust Him for eternity, and that's give God your first and your best. You see, not giving to God, you know what that ultimately is? Here's another way to think. Go like, what does that have to do with trust and obey? When you don't give to God, here's what you're saying. When you don't give to God, here's what you're saying. You tell yourself whatever you want. Here's the truth. When you don't give to God, you're saying, I trust my ability to fulfill myself more than I trust God's ability to fulfill me. Because, right? Isn't that what you buy money for? Or use money for? Because I'll do this, I'll go on vacation, I'll be sandals, I'll be all that. I'll go down the slide and I'll play golf every day and everything. Okay, cool. Then you got to pay that. And when you spend and don't give to God, what you're saying is, I know how to fulfill myself, God doesn't. I'm sorry, that's just not true. I like to play golf, sandals, I did that one time. I'm not sandals, but something like that. If you want eternal reward in heaven, give God your very first and your very best money. Then you'll be investing in an eternal retirement plan. A retirement plan so good you can make an infinite number of withdrawals and your principal remains unchanged. A person who trusts and obeys God gives to Him first and best. Malachi 3:10, bring to my storehouse a full tenth of what you owe. A full tenth is 10% or tithe. Giving 10% of our income is the historic standard for giving to God. It is biblical. People say, tithing is just for the Old Testament Mosaic law. Not true. Tithing happened before then. Tithing's for the whole Old Testament. Not true. Read Matthew 23:23. Jesus endorses tithing. So it's biblical. Now, the church today is afraid to talk about money, afraid to offend people. Cool. Let them be afraid. I'm not afraid anymore. I was afraid for the first 2 years of this church, and I said, no, I'm not helping anybody. Second, it's blessed. Just talk to the people in this church who do. I don't know who does. I know some people do, but ask the people who give 10% because I've never met a person who gives 10% that goes, I can't believe I've done this. I don't know. They seem pretty happy to me. I'm pretty happy. You pretty happy, hon? Okay, she's pretty happy. And here's third. It's a small way to say thank you to the God who didn't give us 10% of money. He gave us 100% of something greater, Jesus Christ, the one who came and became God and man, the one who took the beating, was crucified, was buried, rose again, ascended, and is coming back. He gave us 100% of Jesus Christ. I don't know, I'm thinking He gives me 100% of Jesus Christ, and He asks for just 10%. By the way, it's a starting point, but just 10% of my money, deal. If that's deal or no deal, the sentence isn't finished. Deal. For me. Can't speak for you, but I'm just saying. Just like saving 10%, you give God 10%. By the way, that's how you should live. Pay yourself 10%. First, pay the Lord because He gets your first and best. 10% goes to the Lord. Because you know what happens if you don't make the Lord first? Don't have quite enough. No. God gets His first and best, 10%. You pay yourself, and a wise person lives on 80% of their income. Sadly, the average Christian gives, guess how much? 2.3%. Now, there may be but every year I'm told by our trustees we have members that give nothing. I hope to God it's not true. I hope there's some misunderstanding. But here's my point. Don't be average, be great. Don't be average, be great. If you aren't tithing right now, let me give you a couple plans. Number one, work your debt to death plan. Get that debt out of your life. Number two, give as much as you can, as much as your faith will allow, and then just try to get up to 10%. Remember I said faith is like a muscle? You may not have the strength, the faith strength to give 10%. Have the faith strength to give whatever, and then when you get there and you go, right? Like when you do lifting, like you go, and then you go, now I'm just saying, here's another way. The quarterly step-by-step way. Here's what I mean. Every 3 months. So let's say you give 2% to the church right now, your average person. Right now, decide, I'm going to give 4%. So every quarter you go up 4%. 3 months from now, so this end of January, end of April, go up another 2%. There's 6. End of July, go up 2%. October, go up 2%. Even if you're at 0, by the time you come around, if you start right now, you give nothing and you give 2%. If you quarterly just go up 2% in 1 year, you're at the full tithe. And you can do that. Sometimes you just need to ease it in. Here's a fourth way. Just do it. Like, the end. Bye. Now, when you put God first, here's what happens. Proverbs 3, 9, and 10. Honor the Lord with your wealth, with the first fruits. What's that? The first and the best. If you don't want to trust and obey God, don't listen to that. But he says, your first fruits of all your crops. Then your barns will be filled to overflowing, and your vats will brim over with new wine. I don't know how or when God will do it, but I know that when you give to God first, and you give to God your very best, he fills your life to overflowing. I'm telling you, I am not a millionaire. I am not rich financially. My life is so rich. To have a wife like Sue, to have children like I have friends like you, a church like you to pastor. I'm so rich. I'm way richer than I deserve. But he doesn't just provide financially. He'll do so much. He'll give you a heart for giving, a joy for giving, a peace in life. He'll help you. You know what I'm learning? As I get older, I get a little smarter, I think. You know what I'm learning? You know what life's really about? It's about giving. You earn a living by what you get, but you make a life by what you give. More and more, what are you going to do with it? One more question. What's the purpose of tithing? Can I tell you 2 myths? First purpose that you give 10% is because you want to give to God. Well, you are giving to God. That's a fact. You're not giving to Lakeshore Community Church. You're giving to God. But guess what? God already owns everything. So that's not the reason. It's what you do. It's partly right. You get half credit. Okay. Here's another one. Well, you give to the church because how's church going to make it unless you give? You get partial credit for that. Because when you give, that funds the ministry of the church, and if the church operates with integrity, and by the way, I don't care if it's your first time here, we'll let you know how we spend every thin dime. We have nothing to hide. There's no cloak and dagger ministry here. This is not the televangelist. This is the real church. We have a financial accountant that scrutinized our book. He did it this week. But that's not the purpose. It is what God wants. It's his plan. And it's partly what he's doing but you know what the ultimate purpose is? It's not about God. It's not about the church. You know what the ultimate purpose for giving is? About us. Look at this verse. It tells us the purpose of tithing, Deuteronomy 14:23, the purpose of tithing is to teach you to always put God first in your life. The real purpose of tithing is to take our attention off of ourselves, which it constantly is because we're selfish people, and to focus it on the Lord, to give it to him. Tithing is a great way of making us less selfish, doesn't it? And more focused on the Lord. Because then we have to trust him. And he always delivers because he's always faithful. Look at Deuteronomy 8:18. As we end this series, I can't think of a better verse to end the series. Remember the Lord your God, for it is he who gives you the ability to produce wealth. God is the one who gives you an ability to succeed. Don't you think he's going to look on you more favorably when you give him generously? He controls every dollar that comes in your life, every one. And he's gracious. But I don't want to test his grace. I want to give generously. So if you really trust God and really obey him, you'll obey him by using your money for today, debt to death, tomorrow, smart saving, and for eternity, giving God at least 10% of your income. So let's all bow our heads. And I just want to offer a prayer for all of us. Father, over these last 4 weeks, We acknowledge that while in some ways all of us trust you, in many ways all of us, me included, don't trust you enough with our money. If it's debt, if it's savings, if it's giving tithes, and then if we do that, if it's giving above that in offerings, help us trust you more. Help everybody in our church be generous. May our church be known as a generous church, not only because the people are generous to the church, because the church is generous to our community. And I want to ask you, if you've never trusted Jesus Christ or trusted him in a way that you're obeying him, please don't stand on Judgment Day thinking you're a Christian and you're not. You can know right now. Say, Jesus Christ, I believe everything about you that the Bible says, that Vince just reminded us of. I acknowledge my sin. I need your forgiveness. Please come into my life. I trust you and I want to live for you. And if you say that and mean it, God has invaded your life. And if you truly trust him, and you could see it through the way you obey him, man, something way more important than giving money happened. You gave your life to Jesus Christ. Thank you, Lord, for doing a great work, helping those individuals that said that prayer, helping all of us to trust and obey you in every way, especially financially, in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Thank you.